All right, morning guys. We're gonna do a will it run on these two tractors here. I brought these home last night, and the most we've done to them so far is pop them into gear while we were bringing them over to this spot to see if they would spin over, and neither of them do. So this video is gonna span over a couple days, but what I'm gonna do right now is kind of walk around them, and I'll pull the plugs and put fluid in the engines. This one actually doesn't have any plugs in it. It has water in one of the cylinders. As far as this H goes, it's not bad off. All the tires hold air. It goes into gear. It's missing the spring back here for the seat, but it's not too bad off as long as we can get the engine freed up. I think we can make a good tractor out of this one. It originally was going to be parts for my 9-speed H, but I think it's a lot better than I expected. This one, right side tires hold air. They're both decent. This rim's actually pretty good. This one is shot. There's pretty much no rim left to it. So I'll have to get a new tire and rim for this side. It is pretty crusty all the way around. Transmission's all freed up, shifts nicely. So that's good. Throttle moves, but it ain't hooked to nothings. Both of them are missing the carburetors. This one, I think both of them have all fuel holes in them. I believe this would be your air breather. So this, if I'm correct, would be an all fuel hole. And I think that's the same for this one over here. This one looks like someone modified this half, but this half looks like a factory all fuel hole to me. This hood's junk though. It's someone took their time doing work to it, but someone put an alternator in here obviously at one point, and someone else went back and fixed it, tucked it in there a lot tighter, but there's still a hole, and then this exhaust hole's been riveted. But they're pretty much both bare stock. Neither of them really have any interesting options on them. They're both 1946s. This one has a flip-up seat, which I think is standard for all these A's. If I can figure out how to use it. There we go. We were playing around with it last night. But this one still has spark plugs in it, so like I said, I'm a little more hopeful for it. I would like to get this one running because I think it's in worse shape. But what I'm gonna go ahead and do next is pull plugs out of both of these and put some oil in the cylinders, and then we'll catch you at another time. Okay, so here's a look at the engine bay. Just got the hood off. This actually has a homemade manifold on it, which I think I'll probably source a new one. So that's kind of new. I've never seen that, especially out of square tubing. This bottom half looks mostly original with whatever this is capped on top of it. But yeah, so let me get some tools out of the truck and we'll go ahead and pull these plugs out and get some oil in there. All right, so we got the spark plugs out. They actually don't look bad. I think this one, if it'll focus, is gonna be our problem. It's got a little bit of rust buildup on it. These two on the right are actually different spark plugs. I've never seen electrodes like that before. But I'll go ahead and get a flashlight and look down in there, and we'll get some oil in them and hopefully get this thing freed up in a couple days. All right guys, I got my fluids in there, and even though we pulled it around last night, it didn't look that bad with my flashlight. So with some oil in there now, I got a crowbar and went under the bell housing, and it took a few times wiggling it back and forth, but it's barring over now. So I'm gonna get a few full revolutions out of it, and then let her sit, and after that it's gonna have to wait till I can get a ignition system for it, a carburetor, and if we want to drive it I'm gonna have to find a rim for this thing. So that's good progress though. Here in a little bit I'll throw some fluid in the H. All right guys, we've got it spinning over with the fan now, nice and easy. It's got one sticky spot. There it was. It's starting to come out of it. It might be a stuck valve. Yeah, it's just a little tighter right there, but it's enough that the fan belt's not even slipping and I can spin it over with this. So I think this one's good. So I need to start looking for a distributor, and I can honestly get away without a carburetor just to hear it run and see if it knocks or not. Just spray fuel up in there. But we'll see what happens. So that's good news for this one. All right guys, got the valve cover off, and we had one stuck valve on each cylinder, so that's why I felt no compression. I already got them all freed up. I just used the pry bar, got under this lip and pulled them up, and then tapped them back down with a hammer, and just in and out until they're free. And they're all moving now. You won't be able to see because I'm so shaky with the camera, but they're all moving. So I was just on the TikTok live, that's why I didn't film any of that for you guys. But we've got some compression in the cylinders now. Hopefully just stuck rings is why that's not super high compression. It could be a whole list of things. There could be rust in the valve seats since we know the cylinders were rusty. But hopefully that'll come around if we can get it to build enough compression to start. So next thing I'm gonna have to do is start sourcing parts for this. Needs a distributor, carburetor. I'd like to get rid of this homemade manifold. As of right now, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't know if it leaks or not, but I think I know where I can get a good original one, so I think I'm gonna just do that. But yeah, that's where we're at for tonight, so I'm gonna go ahead and sign off here. Woo! She lives! Well, I think that'll do it for this video. I'm letting the water drain. It's supposed to freeze here in a couple days. I was hoping to drive it around a little bit, but clearly I need to find a rim first. That one is officially retired. Not too bad. It uninstalled the alternator belt in pieces, which is nice. So now I don't have a reference for what size I'll need, but not too bad overall. It is leaking water out of the bell housing, which means it's either cracked in there, or if I remember right, I think these have a freeze plug in there. So if it's cracked, this thing will get sold. If it's got a freeze plug, we might split it, and there will be more videos on this if that's the case. Alright, so I changed my mind and got that wheel off and drove it for a little bit. So that'll be the end of it now. Still need to see about if there's a freeze plug in there, or if that might be a cracked block that's leaking in the bell housing. And once I figure out which one of those is causing that problem, we'll determine if it's getting kept and if I have to get a wheel for it, and the numerous other parts it's going to need. But yeah, that'll be it for this one. So stay tuned for the H. If we get it freed up, there'll be a video on that. And thank you all for watching.